Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Ask Dave. A viewer asked, and this is a really serious question. He said that he had been, I'm not going to read the whole thing, this is a whole long question, but he said that he was an enormous classical music fan in his 20s, 30s, and 40s, but now, 50 years later, he's got thousands of CDs and all kinds of repertoire, and he's just sick of it. He really is. He's found that his enthusiasm has fled, and listening to the same things over and over again doesn't do it. And listening to the ancillary repertoire, shall we call it, the unusual repertoire that was unusual for a very good reason because it wasn't as good as the great stuff, doesn't do it. How does he regain his passion for the music? And I think that's a fair question. I really do, because it's everything he says is true. There are hidden masterpieces. We all agree. We can all become enthusiastic about obscure repertoire, but it is obscure for a reason. Sometimes it's just logistics, but sometimes it's because it's just not as good. The great stuff is great, but we're super saturated with it, and it can be tiresome. We like to say, we tell ourselves, let's put it this way, that the classics are immortal and eternal and consistently fresh, and they never die, and that's why they're classics, because we can listen to them a billion times and it's always wonderful. Well, it's not. Let's be honest with each other. Yes, that is true, but that's only true if you're in a frame of mind to appreciate that fact. And that's what you're listening for. It can very easily happen that you just get fed up. Or, let's put it this way, you know a piece so well. You just know it. You know it soup to nuts. You know it so well. This is one of the fascinating things, actually, about music. Music is a thing. And although, a piece of music is intangible, it only exists while it's being played, you can know it well enough so that it exists as an object in your mind. And once that happens, this happens with me. I can only speak for myself. I know what it is. I know what it sounds like. I know what I like. I can create my own performance in my own imagination that fully satisfies me. And I get tired of hearing all these approximations of what I know to be my ideal. That can be very difficult. That's something that just exists, and I have to deal with it. And in my case, particularly because I do this professionally and I'm listening to music all the time, it's an issue that comes up. And I can only speak for myself, but I do have some suggestions. I really do. For those of you who are sick of certain aspects of the repertoire, certain composers, certain works, certain whatever, or life in general, first, give it a rest. There's nothing wrong with taking a break. You can only do what you can do. I know. Here's the problem: we make this huge investment in music, in CDs, and whether we're streaming it or whatever. We have all this stuff available, and we make this enormous investment of time and money, and we feel guilty that we're not spending, every free moment, reaping a return on our investment. Well, that's nonsense. It's there for when you want it, whenever you want it. And if you don't want it for a while, let it go. And don't feel guilty about it. Part of the resentment, I think, that builds towards having to listen is the fact that we've invested so much, and we resent the guilt we feel when we don't. It makes us unhappy. It's a circular firing squad of illogic, or whatever you want to call it, but it's a situation. So if listening ever becomes a chore, just stop and rest. It's good to rest. I mean, I do that with segments of the repertoire. I never listen to Mahler symphonies anymore unless I'm asked to, unless I get something to review, because I want them to stay fresh. And I went through that period where I played them constantly, every single one I could get my hands on, constantly, over and over. And I know them all by heart. I really do. I could sing them all to you from beginning to end. And I know what the orchestration looks like. I've memorized the scores. I know what they are. So, and the same is true of Beethoven and Brahms and some of the other major composers. The fact of the matter is that if I were to listen to these things every day, it would drive me nuts. So I give it a rest. And then when I come back to it, I feel really, really good about listening. It's like meeting an old friend. It's really nice and enjoyable. So there's that. I mean, that's one way to do it. And it's the most obvious answer, I think. You can't force it. And if it doesn't ever come back, because for whatever reason, because you've changed as a human being, your outlook on life is different, your priorities have changed, then be happy that you had this enjoyment for when you had it, and now you're moving your life on to other things. I can't say strongly enough that the purpose of all of this is to make our lives better, to give us the thrill of beauty, of leisure time well spent. And the minute that ceases to be, if it ceases to be, then forget about it. I mean, people think that's a horrifying notion. Yes, these are cultural products. It's great music. It's this, it's that. It's not. It's for you to enjoy in whatever way you can. And if it's not working, then it's time to give it a break. And if it comes back, it comes back. And if it doesn't, you've had a really good run. Be happy. That's one thing I want to say. But let's now, that's the, just let nature take its course approach. And I really still think it's the most effective. I think it works. And I think it just makes the most sense logically for, what happens in our lives. However, there is also the approach of, well, I really want it back because it was wonderful, and it really bothers me that I don't have that feeling that I used to, and I want to recapture that enthusiasm and that passion. It meant a lot to me then, and I miss it. Well, that's a little tougher, isn't it? But again, the answer is somewhat similar, but not quite. My suggestion is just find something at random and listen to it. Not all that frequently. Again, don't push it. You can't force these things. But if you've got a collection of thousands of CDs, or you subscribe to a streaming service and you're paying for it every month and not using it, you've got all these opportunities to listen to something, and you're not too interested in rare repertoire because you find it to be wanting, and you don't want to hear the same 5 pieces of music by everybody. I really suspect that there are numerous masterpieces by great composers that you don't know all that well, because there are numerous masterpieces by great composers that I don't know all that well. And I'm not bragging, but I know a lot. And I know a lot of you know a lot because you've been through it. So listen to great music that everybody acknowledges to be great music, but that wasn't part of your normal average listening back in the days when you were a rabid fan. I mean, I cannot believe that you know every single masterpiece by Beethoven. You may know the symphonies upside down and backwards. You may know the piano sonatas because you played them. Who knows? You may know all the string quartets, maybe. Do you know the cello sonatas? Do you know the violin sonatas? Do you know the Missa Solemnis? I mean, I never liked the Missa Solemnis. Took me years to get into the Missa Solemnis. Give yourself a challenge. That helps. Challenge yourself. Make yourself work a little bit on something that will reward you, and something that you know will reward you going in. Because that way you will not disappoint yourself. That's my suggestion for that. I mean, if that's what's happening, I think it's really a very simple thing, because there's just tons of great music out there, and you don't know it all. Don't kid yourself. You may have 1,000 CDs, you may have 10,000 CDs. There's still 5,000 masterpieces that you could be listening to, but you haven't. Find something that you haven't paid much attention to in your life and start paying attention. Maybe it's opera. You've never been an opera person. Opera people drove you crazy, but the music is fabulous. Start with Mozart's operas if you don't know them that well. Try Janacek's operas, which everybody is screaming about because they're amazing and you may not know them that well. There are a lot of things that you can do to explore different areas of the repertoire. Get into Renaissance music. Start listening to Josquin, Ockhegum, Orlando de Lasso and all that. I mean, it's just endless what you could be doing. Try to find some Baroque masters that you haven't spent much time with. Listen to the masses of Zelenka. There's got to be a half a dozen Bach cantatas you don't know that well. These are all opportunities. Never mind the fact that you can listen to performances of the classics that are different from the ones that you grew up on. You can listen to them on period instruments. You can listen to them on kazoos. Listen to transcriptions. Oh, transcriptions are so much fun. Listen to orchestrations of organ works or organ transcriptions of orchestral works. Listen to bad music. Bad music is fun. Oh my. Listen to organ transcriptions of Bruckner symphonies. I mean, that will make you run away screaming, oh, that, wait. Everything's going to go crazy. Thank you, Finster. She's going to stomp on the computer. Good girl. That's a good girl. I know this, this is her thing. Yeah, there we go. It's good to see you, too. She walks across the computer and then it all freezes. And I'm in the middle of a rant. So, yes, bad music is a good thing to do. Terrible, awful music. Listen to music for wind ensembles. Wind ensembles are marvelous, and there's a huge repertoire of great works that you could explore. I mean, there's tons of stuff to get into. The hard part is going to be motivating yourself, and then, but again, make it a long-term project. Don't say, okay, I'm going to listen to 5,000 things in the next 2 days, and then something's going to hit me, or I'm going to give up. Don't. While you're resting, in the process of giving it an overall general rest, try and find something that may interest you, that will take you down a new path. Film music, fabulous thing to explore. I mean, there's just endless possibilities, and in that respect, you just need to work on your attitude. Just say, okay, yeah, I'm tired and I'm jaded and I'm blah, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. She jumped over the computer. You see, she got it. Good girl. Anyway, she made a run for it. But that's the way to do it, my friends. Give yourself a chance, and I think you'll find that if your enthusiasm is meant to come back, if your passion has not been utterly depleted, it will return. It will return in its own good time, and feed it slowly so that you don't overdo it and wind up back where you were to begin with, because that's really the issue, isn't it? You overdid it. So don't overdo it. That's my suggestion. So I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that all of you who are looking for, that magic moment that will return you to the ecstasy you felt in your youth. Well, we never really get back the ecstasy of our youth, do we? I mean, Faust tried that, and we all know how that turned out, don't we? So be sensible, be reasonable, give yourself some sympathy, some love, and let the music speak to you. And it will. Have some confidence. It will. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.